Greetings to China Exposed News Talk. I'm James J. Tsidkenu. Well, the Chinese are basically providing drones or Trojan horses to the people in the Middle East, is what they're providing. That's right. They're actually providing Trojan horses. And if you're from the Middle East, from the government in the Middle East, you should listen up to this stuff because, hey, you know, a lot of the stuff that's been said out here turns out to be truth. Okay, so you guys should listen up what you're really getting from China. And, oh man, before I say that, you know what? I'd like to tell our U.S. Department of Defense and all these other people that work out there, you know, and I'd like to tell our contractors, look, James here, he's a really good patriot. I really am. A really good patriot. I love my country. I'll do just about anything for the country. And for a free country, not a communist country. I won't do shit for communists or socialists. If our country turns into communist and socialist, I ain't doing crap for them. All right, but for free country, for those who believe in the Constitution of the United States and believe in the right, you know, the way that we live in the U.S., I'm a big supporter. So you guys don't drop the ball and don't miss out on James. You should put James on your payroll somewhere along the way there because James can really help out with a lot of issues that you guys can't straighten out overseas, having to talk, exposing a lot of this crap that should be exposed, okay? Including you contractors, because I will support contractors who are really trying to help the U.S. and keep the U.S. strong. I tell you, I will support them, you know. It's everything about keeping the U.S. strong, and not only that, let's help other countries get their freedom too, and get away from these a-holes around the entire world who want to turn the U.S. into communism and some crap. All right, but let's go back. Let's go to this story here. All right, having to do with these drones. All right, now reports are coming out that China is basically having a giant sale on drones to the Middle East. Just about anybody in the Middle East can buy a drone, an armed drone. Now, people are going to wonder, how did China get this technology? Well, we gave it to them. Somebody gave it to them. The jury's still out on that one. Nobody can give a clear answer as how did we give it to them? But let me tell you a little story that some people have forgotten, or they hope that you forget about it. During the Obama administration, you know, that lame duck, you know, that moron that was in charge of the White House, doing that, for some reason, the drones kept landing in Iran. That's right. I'm talking about, actually, the drone. One of our high-tech drones, a stealth drone, landed in Iran about 5 or 6 years ago. About 5 years, I think I believe about 5 years ago. It landed right into Iran. Landed. I'm talking about landed in Iran. Somebody said, oh no, because the Iranians took control of it. You want us to believe that one? Do you really want us to believe that somebody took over a classified drone, a high-tech drone, a stealth drone? They took control of it? Really? Huh. Here's the thing. A couple other ones crashed somewhere else, and a couple other ones somehow they got their hands on it, all right? All those drones that Iran had ended up in China. Every single one of them ended up, for the most part, in China. And then the Chinese reverse engineered all the drones. It took us like years to develop these drones. It took the Chinese, I think, less than a year before they already had their prototype flying around. That's right, made with Chinese parts, full up. I mean, everything, including the stealth drone, was being copied by the Chinese. All right. Now what they're doing is they're selling all over the Middle East. They're selling to Jordan. They're selling to the United Arab. They're selling to Saudi, I believe, Saudi Arabia too. They're selling drones everywhere. And I think they were going to put a plant. I think it was in Saudi Arabia they were building one. The Chinese were thinking of building one there. You believe that? Let me tell you one thing. If you're in the Middle East, you have Trojans. You have Trojan drones is what you have. As long as the Middle East, people in Jordan and people in Saudi Arabia and people in other parts of the Middle East use the drones to blow each other up, no problem. Okay, that's no problem with the Chinese. They'll continue to sell to you. And they'll love to sell to you. They're making tons of money. But here's the thing. When you guys take those drones and you turn them around and you aim them at Iran, the drones are going to start falling out of the air. Oops. I wonder what happened there. I bet you that's going to start happening because all those drones that they have bought in the Middle East are embedded with Chinese chips, hardware chips, chips that can take control. They can electronically take control of those drones and put them into the ocean or right into the desert if they wanted to. So when you guys decide to turn them around, this is why, here you guys start thinking about, this makes sense, people. Why is China selling drones to the enemies of Iran when Iran was the one who gave them the drone to design the drones? Think about this, damn it! Have a brain, people! And I'm not talking about my people that listen to this. No, I'm talking about those people. They're morons and out there actually buying these drones. Think about this. The reason that China has the drones is because the Iranians gave them the freaking drones, okay? And because somebody gave the Iranians the freaking drones. Made from the U.S., they reverse engineer. Why would China arm the enemies of Iran with drones? Think about this. Because they know they cannot be used against Iran. That's why they armed them. That's why they're giving them to them. They're selling them to them. They're selling tons and tons of drones all over the Middle East. And China, at the end, is the one who's going to decide on what the drones can do or can't do. Especially when somebody decides to say, well, it's time to go and take out Iran. Those drones, a lot of them are going to be shot down. Or they're going to have locators. Or they're going to have all kind of stuff that give out the location or sinks. Or actually just blow up those drones up in the air. They're Trojan horses, people. Trojan horses. That's why the Chinese sold them so damn cheap. They're selling them like super cheap. I heard it's like 1/10 of what a U.S. drone costs. Or even less, maybe 1/5 of what a U.S. drone costs. They're selling it all over the place. And the Chinese don't care because why should they care when they already have control of the drone? As long as the Middle East blows themselves up, they sit there with the box of egg rolls when they show up to these emirs' houses. Hey, Georgia, it's me. Ah, look, we brought you drone. We brought you a big box of egg roll for Christmas gift or some kind of a gift, whatever you want to take, okay? And enjoy the drone. We'll give you a big sale. Look, you bought 10 of them. We're gonna give you one for free. Take it. You know, that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. That's why Iran was the first one that got the drones, okay? Because they're the ones that work the deal. They got the good drones from China. All right. When Iran's drones hit the Middle East, if there was a war between Iran and the rest of the Middle East, their drones are going to fly. But those other guys' drones, they're going to crash and they're going to burn and they're going to disappear. You know, that's what's going to happen. And the Chinese are going to be right there laughing it up because they got all tons and tons and tons of money selling that stinking Trojan horse to the Middle East. Now, here's the problem. The U.S. has also dropped the ball. Boom, bang, like we always do. All right? Because during the Obama administration, that little Obama administration, man, that guy makes me throw up. Every time I see his picture, I just want to throw up all over the freaking TV. Just all over the damn place. All right? Because he's done such a disgusting stuff to the U.S. So much crap he did to the U.S. Obama basically took the U.S., shoved it into his toilet, and then sat there all day long eating boxes and boxes of cans of beans and taking a crap on the U.S. That's what Obama did. All right? And then here's what it is, man. Here's where we're at. I know you guys, I hope you guys are not having lunch. Especially eating beans. But, like I said, these drones have ended up there. And now here's another thing. During that whole administration from Iran, the U.S. was not able, they had laws in effect that you couldn't sell drones to countries, to like Saudi Arabia and other places. So what happened is, since the Chinese already had the drones, they reverse engineering, they broke the deals with all these other countries that we could have sold drones to, and they got their deals going, and they got the drones. They have armed drones. It's not just drones, it's armed drones. All right? U.S. contractors could be making tons of money, but U.S. contractors don't have somebody they should have. Maybe they should hire me, you know, and start supporting me because I can expose a lot of this crap out there, you know. But, you know, they're too damn greedy. They want to stick all the money in their pocket, you know. Hey, James is out here not doing much of anything, got a part-time job, you know. So the whole thing happened is that they got the U.S. pretty much shot themselves in the foot. Their allies in the Middle East with asking for drones, And the U.S. said, "Ooh, we got a law in books, we can't do it." But then Donald Trump has come into place, and Donald Trump has changed some of that, where now there's going to be a reevaluation, and there's a change within these laws that is going to allow American contractors to sell drones to the Middle East. But they're more expensive, of course, than the Chinese. It's like, if you want the really good pair of shoes, or the really good computer, or the really good stuff, you don't buy Chinese. And then, so there's a premium price. So here's the thing, is the Middle East, some of those countries might be able to afford American drones. Other countries like Jordan might not be able to afford American drones because it's just going to be out of their reach. All right, it's just too damn expensive. But the U.S. can't drop the ball on that. They're going to do what they can, okay, to keep the U.S. industry. I mean, I'm not a big plant of the industry, but keep them strong, okay? The thing is, and we have to prove to the Chinese, the U.S. government, I'm sure by now, know that those are Trojan horses. Those are Trojan drones is what they are. All right? And these governments got to be aware of this stuff, that what they're getting is, they cannot, the governments in these parts of, in the Middle East part of the world, you can say, don't have the technology needed to reverse, to really take those drones and find out what are those ships about and how can the Chinese take control of them. They really can't do it. The U.S. might be able to show them how it's being done. You gotta start. If I'm sitting before some of these Middle East leaders, I will tell them, come on, people, use your brains on this one. Why would China be selling you drones when China is in support of Iran, and China and Iran are developing nuclear weapons to blow up the Middle East? Why in the heck? Why would they want to sell you drones? Somebody will come up to me, oh, because the Chinese sell arms to anybody. No, the Chinese do things in a different way. They'll sell you stuff when they have control of it. When they have a control over, especially drones. That's why they're selling it to you. You know what you do? Take a couple of drones and fly them towards Iran to see what happens. See how far they go. See how far they get. You know, I know you're talking about war now, but it ain't going to happen, man. The Chinese are going to knock them out. The Chinese have given, I'm sure by now, the Chinese have given the techniques or given the codes, whatever is needed for the Iranians to knock down those drones whenever they want to if they head towards Iran. What China wants to do is they want to see the Middle East get involved in a major war, and then China supplies these weapons to them to set the Middle East on fire, and maybe somewhere along the way China can come in, oh look, we're going to help you, we're nice people in China, we're going to send our troops to China, to Middle East to help you with the peace process in the Middle East. You know, in the United Nations, the military branch of the United Nations, like 1/3 of it, I believe it's like 1/3 is Chinese. There's a huge amount of Chinese in the United Nations. Or in part of the military. All those blue caps, you could say. The ones that go out there around. There's a mess of them up from China. You know? You got to start thinking about how China is trying to destabilize the Middle East, because they're going to definitely try to destabilize the Middle East. They're not arming Iran with nuclear weapons or giving them the latest crap just for the heck of it to make money. No, there are other intentions behind them. The socialist communist press in the United States, and those who actually look like they're with the people of the U.S. are not the part of the socialist communist press, okay? They're making it sound like China is just selling to sell. No, China's got other plans for the Middle East. Other more devious plans than just selling. Yeah, they're selling to making money, but they also got devious plans for the Middle East. The whole thing of China, let me tell you, I don't care what you people want to believe on this one. The whole plan of China is to take over the rich oil, okay? The areas of rich areas of oil in the Middle East, such as Kuwait, such as the Saudi Arabia. All the areas that produce massive amount of oil. This is the plan. The Chinese have been eyeballing this for years and years and years, the Middle East. They have been eyeballing it to take it over. Okay? They need the oil, and they feel like if they can control that oil, they can also control a lot of situations with the U.S. and other stuff. They want to go in there. They want to flip. They want to flip All the kings, all the emirs, all the people, all the rulers of the Middle East, they want to flip them towards China. But I will tell the rulers of all those countries, who are Muslim countries for the most part, your Muslim brothers and sisters are being slaughtered by the Chinese and the northwest part of China. Slaughter. There's a report of 2 million incarcerated in China, Muslims. And they're making Chinese families live with these Uyghurs in that area of the world with other Muslims to turn them away from their religion completely and make them into atheists. Alright, why isn't the Chinese ambassadors to all these places telling you what the massacre they're doing of Muslims in that part of the world and that northwest part of China? Why isn't they telling you that? But yet, the Middle East is working out deals with them. That doesn't make any sense. What are you doing that? You know, there's a mass massacre of people in China. And when they go into, if China were to take over any country right now in the Gulf area, they took it over, they will start their massacring of all people's culture and religion. It's just the way they work. All right. And China is dying to get their hands on all the oil from the Middle East. The U.S. only, let me make this light because a lot of people out there, the U.S. is doing it. No, the U.S. is only getting like less than 10%. I believe like 8% now of oil, or even less, from the Middle East. The U.S. is actually exporting oil. Believe it or not, we're exporting oil to other countries. And here's the funny one. China wants us to export them oil. Believe that's how much oil that the U.S. has found and it's got going. Huh? So it's not like it was before. It's not like the 1970s or the 1980s when we were depending completely on oil from the Middle East. No, it's not like that. We're now depending on more allies from the Middle East, or depending. And the U.S. really, truly doesn't want to see another major war break out in the Middle East. Not looking for that. You know? I wish the people in the Middle East could realize that when you're buying drones from China, I wish I could sit down and have a big meeting with all the emirs in the Middle East and all the rulers of the Middle East and say, you got to make some common sense here, people. When you send millions of dollars to China to buy these drones that you're buying from them, what you're doing is you're building up an army that wants to invade the Middle East. You're giving them the money that they're going to use to develop weapons that one day is going to come back an invading army into the Middle East to take over your lands. Why can't you see that? Why is it you don't see that part? If the U.S. the U.S. has to try to work out things the proper way, they can do it the proper way with the Middle East and provide them with the stuff they need to protect their countries. You know, there's this problem with Saudi Arabia and Yemen right now, and there's situations here and there, and there got to be a way to protect them. The biggest threat right now in the Middle East is not that war with Saudi Arabia and Yemen. That is a problem, but the biggest number one threat right there is Iran. Iran is the one. Iran, check this out. Iran is the one providing Yemen, the Yemen rebels, with the latest weapons, including missiles that can reach into Saudi Arabia. But here's the thing. Who's providing Iran with these missiles? China. And China is also selling tons and tons of weapons to the Yemenis rebels. And where's the money coming from? Who's giving these people the money for these weapons? A lot of the money is coming also from Iran. Iran wants to establish a base in Yemen. They want to take over Yemen and establish and make it into a base, and then start bringing in the Chinese to set up base or set up house finally on the Iranian Peninsula. It's a whole big giant plan. The plan is for Iran to destabilize Yemen, finally somehow find a way to take over Yemen, see if Saudi Arabia quits bombing the crap out of them, all right? Then they'll move in there. Iranians will move in there, negotiate some big deals in there, provide them with a lot of equipment and stuff that they need. And who comes in behind them with the truckloads and the shiploads of equipment and manpower? China. And it's China who sets up a base, a sea base, right there on the peninsula, the Iranian peninsula. They set up a base, and they'll start loading it up with Chinese troops. Because the Chinese have a big long-term plan. They don't care if they have to wait another 30 years or 10 years. But they'll build up that entire area with Chinese. And then they'll start bringing in Chinese from the homeland to take over businesses and start developing the area with millions of dollars from China. And Chinese citizens who will live in compounds only for Chinese citizens, and they will do their soft invasion like they're doing right now around the entire world, and put a huge military Chinese base there, right there on the peninsula, and start arming the heck out of it. And when the time comes, maybe 20 years from now, make a move on Saudi Arabia. That's right. And at the same time they're doing all this, because there's multiple things they're doing at one time. At the same time they're trying to weaken, who are they trying to weaken? The United States. By turning a lot of the people in the United States into communists. How are they turning them into communists? Because they have invaded U.S. universities, the next generation of military officers, the next generations of high-tech people. Those young people's brains are being brainwashed by Chinese Confucianism that they have actually put that in 100 colleges in the United States. They have put Chinese Confucianism, which there's a group. I have a video on this. That group that's actually teaching this for free from China, being paid by China. It's a branch of the propaganda of China. And it's been proven and shown. And yet the university continues to have them there. Because the whole idea is that once they hit Saudi Arabia, or they get ready to hit Saudi Arabia, by around that time in 20 years or less than 20 years from now, the United States, for the most part, has become communism and socialist, and you'll have more Obama type of deal taking over the country, where they'll turn a blind eye to what China does, and the people in Saudi Arabia and in the Gulf area will be doomed, because when the Chinese decide to invade, the U.S. is not going to be there to bail them out at all. And China will take over the Middle East completely. That's the whole plan. China should not be, the Middle East shouldn't be worried about let's say Russia or anything. No, worry about China. China is the biggest problem for the Middle East. It's not Russia. Russia's been put out there many times, and people still think it's Russia. No, it's China. Russia's got their own oil, whatever oil. Russia's not a huge. Russia is a huge country, but it has a very small population compared to the size of the country it is. They can get a lot of their oil from their own country, from up in Siberia. They've taken tons of oil out. They don't need to invade the Middle East for oil. And they're selling tons of gas to Europe. It's China, the one that needs the oil. It's China who even begs to the United States for deals to make oil. Can you imagine that? That's how desperate they are for oil. The whole plan of what's going on in Yemen, the whole thing is we're giving the king of Saudi Arabia a bad rap, okay? Oh, look, he's blowing up the shit on the Yemen. But what the heck do you expect for the king of Saudi Arabia to do when he's being bombed? He's being, the Yemenis, if you ever see those guys, they're extremely poor people. Okay, they can't even afford a pair of sandals. They're these super skinny people with no money at all, and they get their hands on a missile that was made in China that will cost hundreds of thousands, maybe $1 million, so they can launch it against Saudi Arabia. Who gave them that technology, and why did they spend that money on those missiles when they could have spent it on food and stuff for themselves? That's because Iran is stuck in that stinking war along with the Chinese. The thing that kills me is I would wish I could sit by the king of Saudi Arabia and say, well, I don't understand this, king. I really don't understand this at all. I mean, you know, we're allies. The U.S. is allies with Saudi Arabia. What I don't know is why would you negotiate any kind of deals with China when China is the one providing the Iranians with the equipments and the missiles and everything that's being launched to Saudi Arabia? And it's Chinese bullets coming flying, okay, from Yemen into Saudi Arabia, and that whole war is the armament is being supplied, a lot of it from China and Iran. Why are you dealing with China? This doesn't make any sense. I don't understand that part at all. You know, the U.S. needs to also get more involved in this war between Saudi Arabia and Yemen, see if they can put a stop to the war and get some kind of control there, okay? Because that's going to continue until, like I said, there is some kind of negotiation where Iran will end up probably putting some kind of puppet government in Yemen, all right, and then start bringing in the Chinese. Look, there's a lot of stuff going on that we don't see in other parts of the world, especially in the U.S., because our socialist communist media don't want you to know what the stinking Chinese communists are doing in other parts of the world. You know, this whole thing about these drones, this is stolen technology, literally stolen technology, and given to the Chinese, literally the latest of the latest. I was shocked to learn when I learned that a U.S. stealth drone, the latest of the latest, landed. Not shot down, not put down, no. Landed on an Iranian airfield, military airfield. It landed there. And then about 2 years later, a year and a half later, it showed up in China, and China was reverse engineering the damn thing and building it into a drone. And I think only a couple of years ago, they already put the damn thing out, and they already have been showing people, and they want people to buy it. Sickening. Absolutely sick. And you know what? The American people have never, ever, ever gotten a straight answer. How did a drone landed in Saudi, in Iran? How did the top stealth drone, the most classified thing that we had, landed in Iran? Nobody gets a straight answer. And whatever you get from our Pentagon, and it's all a bunch of bullshit. Somebody gave it to them. Somebody betrayed us in a big way and gave them that freaking drone. You know? Look, I wish there's a lot of stuff going on around the world. I wish that people could notice what's going on around the world. And start seeing the true enemies of the entire earth. Who are they? If you're in the Middle East and you're in Africa, you're all being bamboozled by China. And they're playing both. They look like they're playing both sides, and they want you to believe that they're just selling arms to both sides. No, they're selling more technology to the side they want to win than they're selling to the side they want to lose. All right, and the money that the Chinese are making from all these arms deals is to make more weapons and make more advancements on their military that they will use to one day enter the Middle East, take over, possibly take over Africa. All this stuff going on in South Africa, that's the Chinese behind it. That's Chinese communism behind them, loading up South African people, leaders in there, with communism in their heads and tons of money in their pockets. That's because the Chinese are planning on putting a base in South Africa, a huge base, and eventually start colonizing that and make it into Chinese territory. And the Chinese, because the Chinese move their own people in. They got enough people to do this. What is called, it's basically a soft invasion is what it is. And they're going to continue to this. They don't care if it takes 50 years or 60 years to get all their plans going, but they're going to do it. Unless they're stopped now. There's no end to China. Xi Jinping put out a message yesterday that I made a video on, saying that it's forward. It's only one way for China, to go forward. That was his message. In other words, he will take China either off to the edge of the cliff or he'll take them to victory. That's the only way. He's not stepping back anything he's doing. And the U.S., for the most part, sleeping on the entire thing. I wish one of my writers sent to me something that they wish that Donald Trump could stay president of the United States for as long as he can. I wish in some ways he could, because whatever comes after Donald Trump may be the end of the United States. If we get another Obama type of deal, forget it. It might be the end of the U.S. And there's something like 30-something people are going to try to run against Obama. I mean, like 20-something. I think like 20-something, 21 people. Something. They're going not Obama against Donald Trump. They're going to try to run against him when the elections come. Can you believe that? Let me tell you, the Chinese are spending billions of dollars in the United States. The U.S. right now, if I'm president of the United States, I will ban that Confucian institution from China teaching an oncologist. I'll have every single one of them, all those teachers who are teaching this crap and communism at the same time, removed from my college. And then I will remove student visas from China. 95% of it will be removed. I will probably only allow maybe only 5% of what we have now from coming from China. And they're going to be studying how to move them up, I guess. They're not going to study any advanced courses. And not even that. I'll probably just remove 100%. And then I will go to my allies in the Middle East and say, what do you want? But whatever I give you is not to give you stuff so you can continue to make deals with China. No, 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 no. I'm going to give you stuff. I'm going to give you good equipment, good stuff that you need, and I'm going to stop the war in Yemen. That's what I'll tell Saudi Arabia. But you guys got to stay away from China. Not only for your safety, for the safety of the entire world. You know, that's what they got to do. All right? The U.S. needs to somehow get together with Saudi Arabia and stop that war in Yemen. Those people are dying by the hundreds. Okay, they're just a posse war. It's just Iran. If Iran were to stop tomorrow sending arms to Yemen, and China were to stop sending arms to Yemen, the war would end in Yemen in about a month. It would just finish because they have nothing. They have no more bullets. They have no more. There's no way to do anything else. The reason the war continues in Yemen is because somebody continues to supply them with tons and tons and tons of weapons to fight, to continue to fight. If you have no fuel, you have no weapons, no ammunition, you cannot fight a freaking war. All right? And who's providing all this crap to them? The Chinese and the Iranians. You stop both of those groups. But here's the thing is, the countries who are involved in this thing about Yemen should stop dealing with the Chinese, who are the ones involving, who are the ones giving them the stuff. So anyway, this is what I got to say. So to those who have received their Trojan horse Chinese drone, keep an eye on those drones, because you cannot aim them towards Iran. That's one thing. They're going to end up in the freaking middle of the Gulf is what they're going to end up. So anyway, we'll see where all this goes. Till the next time, have a great one. Have a blessed one. We'll pray for the peace of everything. And we pray that people have common sense and see and actually, start realizing what's going on. So anyway, have a great one. Have a blessed one. And I will see you. Bye-bye now. Don't forget to see my channel, my other channel, 6CO News Talk, which is it's the brother of this channel, you can say. All right. So don't forget to check that channel out and see a lot of stuff there too. Okay. Bye-bye. God bless.